Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. So in today's video we take a look at the new fiddle yard section. I will also show you some of the progress that I've been making over the last few days. And then finally we take a look at what will be coming up and what my next plans are going to be for the layout. So I've just finished constructing the second 8-foot section for the fiddle yard. So as you can see, where these lines are here, they will join up and then on a slight curve into what will be an engine shed, probably a 4-lane one that side, and then I'll have up to 4 lanes here for any carriages and wagons and stuff. And then as it branches and sort of sweeps into that bit, I'll then have this section here for any scenic work. And then what I was going to do is bring this river over on a piece of board and link up to this one and then continue it down up into this section here. So adding in just some temporary bits of track here. I mean, the spacings are not correct. I'll probably be able to get a little bit more in here. But at the moment, I can sort of, as an average, put in 8 lines. I could possibly get 9 in there if I work out my spacings with the track setter and stuff, or the weigh gauge. I have got one of those somewhere. I just need to dig it out and then I'll space those up properly. Just making sure that I've got enough allowances for any curves and stuff, because I'm thinking if I extend it down to here and then have all my sets of points in through this one. So at the moment I haven't put any support in the middle here. What I've done is I've put an extra batten just in this section here, just to make sure that it's level with this baseboard here. And then once I've done all my holes and stuff, then I can work out where I can put my strengtheners for this section here. So at the moment this is just a planning stage. I won't actually be adding any detail in here, but it means that I can unpack some of my boxes and I'll just put some buffer stops at the end there and just have some locos and stuff that I can store on here, just so that it's easy that if I'm putting anything over onto this section, I can just lift them off equally and then put them on there. I have a habit of not putting things back in the boxes, so it'll be a good way of me just keeping it nice and tidy. So with this section here, I'm yet to fix in the legs. So they're just loosely put on at the moment. I have braced though this middle one so that it's still nice and solid and stuff. And I've also screwed in through down the ends here, but I haven't fixed down any of these tops or anything yet. It's just the main structure in there. But I'm going to get some more brackets, as I can't seem to find where I've put the other ones. And I'll just strengthen that up as I go. But for now, I'll probably use this as a slight sort of a bit of a modelling table at the moment, just while I'm working on anything. So my next big task is to have a massive tidy up of all of this section here. And then what I'll do is, after I've tidied it all up, is give you sort of like an aerial shot of how the layout's looking so far and what kind of size it is. And then we'll have a look at some more work that I've been doing over these few days that I've got off. Right, back in a moment. So with a couple of hours of tidying up, what I thought I would do is just come to where the chimney breast is and just show you kind of how the layout looks at the moment. Now I've added a little bit more sort of stock and some rail to kind of judge where the curves will be on that new fiddle yard section. And then I've just moved in my station building there just to kind of work out where the station will be. But as you can see, from where I started about 4 months ago, it's starting to take shape. So slow and steady wins the race, but it's nice that I can get some full days up here and crack on and get this done. But I think it's starting to take shape. It's definitely how I wanted it, to have those sort of 2 boards in the middle there as well, and then the loops around the edges, and the loco seems to be happily running around. And considering that there's only that back end piece there that's actually secured down, the tracks seem to be working quite nicely as they're going around this section here. So I've been planning out where my station will go. Now, I was thinking of doing that Tumbler's Point and where that would go in transition from the scenic section here leading into what will be the town scene. So I've just put these blocks of wood there, and what I'm going to do is build my platform where the blocks are laying down, and then I'm going to have a bridge constructed out of wood, and then I'm going to clad it in the same Metcalf papers that are used for the retaining walls there, and then build some fencing along the top of where the cars will be, and then I'm going to make a card structure to represent some iron beams and girders that will be for that bridge there. And then the reason for making that out of wood will be that it's going to hold a section of MDF that will stretch from that corner there, and then if I pan you around, it will go all the way down there and then link up to the corner in there. So it'll be like a C shape when looking from above. And then in the corner there, what I'll do is where the tracks come off, I'll have some houses in this corner here. Where I've raised up this section here, that's where the height of the tracks will be. And for the back piece, I will be using some low relief buildings and sky for the background. And then where that wood is, I will be setting that back and then having some low relief houses again just in the bottom there with a piece of sky. So when I'm doing any filming, if I come in close enough, you'll be able to cut off this top half and have the trains that are running down the bottom there, and it will look like it's just one scene. And then for my second set of filming, I can do slightly higher up, and I'll be able to have all my houses and different locos on the top section, and you won't actually see what's running underneath. So it will be a dual height with a lot more sort of scenic detail in this area here. So that's where I'll have more of my sort of 3D houses, like the kits that I've built and stuff, because from this bridge point here, I'll have all this corner section to be able to put houses and streets and stuff. Then it will simplify with low relief stuff to give the sense of a town scene. And then back in this corner here, then I'll go for some more 3D models, which will then lead off into the station scene on that side. So that's my ideas for this section. I'm going to have another little think up of any ideas that I want for this section, but I think if that's what I'm going to go with. I had a thought about where the station comes off here. I will make a set of steps that will come up and lead up into sort of like a little gate off the footbridge or off the road bridge, so that any passengers can then come down onto this station here. And then if I was to take any sort of running shots and stuff of locos coming up through this way, I could almost cut off that part in view and it will just look like a station that's in the countryside. But then when looking from this side, it will look like it's actually going into somewhere rather than just a random station in the middle there. I hope that I've kind of explained the gist of how that section will look. It's a bit hard to explain how it will look, but once I've got the plywood sort of cut out and marked up on that section, then you'll probably see a little bit more of how that section will look. So I thought I'd just bring you over to this section here where the edge of the cliffs go and what will start to lead into another section. And what I've done here is just start to make a little bit more hillside, because I noticed that when viewing trains from the other side, you could see just a big gap. So if I was to bring you down over here now, it kind of blocks off that corner a little bit, and then this will be plaster bandaged as well, but you'll see that the trains will then disappear off and you won't see so much of the loco. So just as they come off of that curve there and onto the point, that's when they start to straighten up, and then I can just paint that up to match these ones here. I just thought it will give that good break in between the scene. And then with the back, what I will do is just bring these hillsides up a little bit more, so it's almost at a diagonal and sort of a straight along there, so it sort of keeps it in a straight piece, or a straight line should I say, coming off the curve. And then that will look like it's sort of sweeping into what will be the countryside. And then I can work on doing the scenic stuff at the back there, because with the back there I'm hoping to do a sort of an army base and World War II kind of scene, and then using this beam up here I'll be hanging some sort of planes and stuff. So with the level that will come off here, there'll be sort of any war trains that can do some supplies there. And I'm thinking maybe in the corner there I might have sort of an end of a runway or something like that that will come up in there, or I could have that over on that section on that side. So yeah, not too many thoughts and ideas about that section yet, as I'm thinking about the transition of going into doing the town scene first. So I've decided that this viaduct here, I'm going to actually move it back and not have a track behind it. I was thinking about having to reach over and clean any tracks at the very back, and just thought that that would be more difficult. So what I'm actually going to do is have 3 lines on this base section, and then just have the 2 lines at the top there. So it just means that there's not going to be one that will be running as a 3rd line up the top. I'll just be moving it down a little bit. So as you can see, what I've done is I put the 2 in, and then I've marked out with this piece of track leading into where the station will be. That will be the 3rd line that will run there instead of round the back. So once I've now done all of these base structures, I'm gonna paint up these parts here. I'm gonna now paint up all of these ones, and then I'm gonna start with the making of this section here. So I'm gonna scratch build a platform. That piece of retaining wall there will be going out up the other end because it's a slightly darker one, and I have actually got another one of those that I can make up to fill that void there. I'm then gonna cut the wood down to the right size and just wrap them with the Metcalf paper, and then screw those into position there, and then I will keep the top half left off until I make that piece of board that will go all at the back there. Then that will kind of bring all of this section together. I can then start building the kits for the coal merchants here. I'm also going to cut all the 3mm ply for the tops of the viaduct there, and then pretty much that's all the base structures done in for this section here. And then I should be able to start getting all the grasses down and start painting up all of these rocks and things. With this section here being a lot more complex in my station section, this will probably be the second build, also should I say, sorry, the third build that I will do. My next section I've decided that I'm gonna do and get all the base structures for is this town scene, because I already have sort of quite a few kits and things and cars that I can populate it with. I'll start to mark out this, and then kind of what I'm doing is starting from this corner and then working my way around the layout, and then this will lead into then what will become the station section. It just makes sense for me to do it in one kind of sweep rather than me going from, you know, one side to the next, because I know what I'm like, I'll never get it finished properly. So the next task is get some more cork down, get that third rail planned in. I've also got to do the wiring and stuff for these tracks here. All I've done is just put the cork down ready, so that's glued in place. I've just now got to lay the actual tracks and do the wiring for it, and then hopefully then I can start linking up the other three. So I've got one DCC line, so I'm going to link up another 2 more lines there on the DCC system, and then I can have eventually a little bit more variety in some of the DCC locos that I run. And then I will be just making them as single loops for now, just to sort of keep them running as I have done with these ones. And then at a later date I will do all the point work for it when I get over to this section here. I've decided that at the back here I might have a couple of crossovers, maybe sort of the 2 or 3 lines will do a bit of a crossover there, but there's nothing going to be too intricate on that side. But then when I come round to this corner here, there will be some point work that I'll do leading off into that, so that it can kind of join up through this motion here. So coming off from that side, I'll probably have a lot more sort of tunnels and things, but still with an access to get into underneath, so I can clean any track if needs to. But then when you're looking down from this side, it will pretty much mirror the bridge that I made on the opposite side. So I'll have another one of those up on this section here, and then that will lead off then to the fiddle yard at the back there, and then this will become my engine shed area, and then my station will stretch from where that bridge is, will stretch down to this point about here, and then I'll have like my signal box and stuff to feed all of these lines and points and stuff. And obviously, because of, you know, points being very expensive, and also with, you know, point motors being really expensive, it's something that's going to take a lot of time for me to be able to save up for. So I'll be doing little bit by little bit, but it's quite a long way off for me achieving that goal of doing this section here yet. So that's why I'm going for more the sort of simpler lines, and just keeping the loops as they are. You know, you think about the cost of the points and stuff like that, it does become quite expensive. So as and when I get them, and as and when I do manage to save up for some, then I'll be adding those in where I can. I mean, for me, you know, having 3 or 4 trains being able to run will be a massive achievement, and I'm not in a rush to finish this layout. This is a long-term project, so it'll be definitely worth the wait once I do get them. So I've just been working on finalising the cliff faces so that I can get the wash done. And what I've done is, as you saw in the speeded up version, was just to add in some plaster using a small sort of clay tool, and then what I'll do is, once it's dried, I'll be able to sort of carve in some sort of cut lines and stuff like that. If I bring you over to this one here, if it focuses, so in there you'll start to see that I've sort of cut in some tiny little sort of scratch lines and stuff like that in those edges. And then if I pan you out, what I have done now is painted up. It's still a little bit wet, but I've painted up all of this section now, and just done the edge of this bit, because there'll be a fence along here, and then this will be sort of overgrown bushes and bits of grass, and then this section here will be the road. So yeah, it's nice that I'm getting to that point now where I can get everything kind of painted up and starting to get some of the sort of rock formations and bits and pieces done on this side. So my next task is to now paint up that one, and then hopefully within a week or two I should be able to start on some static grassing, and start bringing this section to life. So my plan is to do all of the static grass over every area that's painted brown. But first job will be to do all the acrylic washes for the cliffs, and then I can grass over the top of that. Then what I'll do is make a new polystyrene section just to finish off those two arches there, and then I'll be drawing out some card templates for the station section on that bit there, and then I can start working on the idea for the bridge in that section. Once I've done all of the main grassing on this section, I will then look at weathering down some of this track. I've got to do some dropper wires and stuff in this section here, and just make sure that I add in 1 or 2 down on this section here as well. But I think doing all of the grasses and stuff, it'll be quite nice if I can actually get some ballasting down on this section as well, because this will be kind of the main section where I'll do most of my filming from for now, because very much the other side of the layout will be under a lot of construction, so I probably won't show as much on any running sessions, because otherwise it will be spoiler alerts for any future videos that might come up. Right, so that's about it for the video now. I'm gonna crack on with doing some more work because I've got a little bit more time off this weekend just to be able to get some more painting done. So thanks everyone for joining, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye for now.